They say the Alpha King never kneels. But tonight, the most feared ruler in the werewolf kingdoms lowered his head before a she-wolf who didn't even know she owned his soul. What happens when a king used to taking everything he wants meets the one woman he has to earn? Stay till the end. The truth he confesses will shock you. Welcome back, my moonbound lovers. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story. Today's episode is fire, but I want you to answer this at the end. If the Alpha King confessed he wanted you with every breath in his body, would you run or would you let him ruin you? Tell me in the comments after the story. Let's begin. The king who wanted her. The night forest glowed silver under the full moon as Alpha King Kale Draven paced restlessly along the riverbank. Warriors feared him, kingdoms obeyed him, but nothing had prepared him for her. The she-wolf who smelled like rain and danger. Lyria Vale, a quiet wolf with a wild heart. A woman who turned away from every male who tried to impress her. But Kale wasn't trying to impress her. He was trying not to lose his mind. He found her kneeling beside the water, washing her hands after hunting. She didn't hear him approach. No one ever did. But she felt him. Her back stiffened, her breath caught. "Your Majesty," she whispered without turning. Kale smiled. "I'd rather you call me Kale, unless you plan to punish me with titles." She froze. That voice, deep, smooth, sinful. "Why are you following me?" she asked softly. "Because." Kale stepped behind her, lowering his tone. "Because the moon keeps sending me to you." Lyria rose slowly and finally faced him. "You are the king. You shouldn't say such things to a common wolf." "Common?" Kale chuckled, eyes dark with hunger. "Nothing about you is common." He circled her like a predator, savoring the scent of a hunt. "You walk like the forest listens to you. You breathe like the wind is jealous. And when your eyes meet mine," he brushed a knuckle along her jaw, "I forget I am king." Her breath shook. "Kale, don't start." "Start?" He leaned in, lips near her ear. "Lyria, I want to finish." Her heart thundered so loudly she feared he heard it. He probably did. Alpha Kings always do. "Why me?" she whispered. Kale stepped closer, invading her world, her air, her pulse. "Because," he said, "you are the only woman I cannot command, so I must convince you." He looked into her eyes with a softness no one believed he possessed. "Let me court you, Lyria. Let me speak to the fire inside you. Let me earn the right to hear you whisper my name when no one else can." Her legs weakened. Her wolf howled inside her chest. Kale gently held her chin. "I won't touch you until you want me. But when you do," his voice dropped, velvet and dangerous, "I promise you, you will never doubt who you belong to." Lyria swallowed hard, torn between fear and temptation. "Kale, this is dangerous." He smiled darkly. "Then let's be dangerous together." And for the first time, she didn't walk away. The king's softness is dangerous.
Lyria didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the Alpha King's words, the heat in his voice, the way he looked at her, like she was a secret he intended to worship slowly. By dawn, she convinced herself it meant nothing. Kings flirt, kings charm, kings take. She would not be taken. She walked into the training grounds with her head high, expecting Kale to have forgotten all about last night. He hadn't. The moment she appeared, his warriors stiffened, not because of her, but because he had sensed her before any of them. Kale churned slowly, eyes locked on her, as if she'd been carved into the morning itself. Lyria. Her name rolled off his tongue like a promise. She hated the shiver it sent down her spine. She tried to keep her voice steady. "Your Majesty, I didn't expect—" "You didn't expect I'd keep my word." He stepped closer, gaze intense but soft. "I said I would earn you. You think I wake up late for that?" A few warriors exchanged looks. None had ever heard their king speak like this. Kale ignored them. His attention belonged to one woman. Lyria crossed her arms. "I have work to do, my king. Training doesn't wait for royal moods." Kale grinned, "Then train with me." She blinked. That isn't necessary." "Oh, it is." He removed his cloak, revealing muscle and scars that told 100 battles. He tossed a wooden staff at her feet. Her pride refused to back down. She picked it up. The warriors moved aside quickly. A silent circle formed. Kale pointed his staff at her chest. He said, "First rule, do not back down. I want your fire, not your manners." She muttered, "You asked for it." Their staffs clashed, wood vibrating, sparks flying in the air. Lyria fought fiercely, surprising the king with her speed. Kale smiled with every strike she landed. "You enjoy this too much," she growled. "I enjoy you," he corrected. She swung again, harder this time. He dodged, catching her wrist mid-air. Their faces inches apart. Her breath hitched. His eyes softened. "Lyria," he murmured, "I don't want to win this fight. I want to understand you." Her chest tightened unexpectedly. He released her slowly, deliberately, brushing her palm with his thumb, a touch that sent warmth shooting up her arm. Lyria stepped back, flustered, angry at herself. "You don't even know me," she whispered. Kale lowered his staff. His voice dropped to that dangerous softness again. "Then let me change that. Let me learn every reason you guard your heart." He paused, eyes burning with sincerity. "And when you allow it, let me be the one you rest that heart on." Her wolf whimpered inside her. She hated how much she wanted to believe him. Before she could answer, a horn blasted across the courtyard. Warriors panicked. A messenger ran in, breathless. "My king, the Northern Claw Pack has crossed into our borders. They're looking for her." Every gaze shot to Lyria. Kale's entire demeanor shifted, from tender to lethal. He stepped in front of her immediately. "They want her," Kale growled. "Let them try." And for the first time, Lyria saw how dangerous a king becomes when he cares.
The king who stood between her and war. The courtyard fell into dead silence. Lyria's heartbeat slammed against her ribs as the messenger repeated the words she wished she'd never hear again. "They crossed our borders, my king. The Northern Claw Wolves demand we surrender the she-wolf named Lyria Vale."
Kale didn't move at first. He didn't blink. He simply turned, slowly, dangerously, towards Lyria. She expected anger, fear, questions. She got none. Kale's voice dropped into a deadly rumble. "Lyria, why are they hunting you?" She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Memories she'd buried clawed to the surface. Chains, fire, the alpha she fled from. A second messenger ran in. "My king, their envoy approaches the gates." Kale's jaw tightened. Then he stepped in front of Lyria, shielding her with his body, as though he'd been born for it. "To my war generals," Kale barked. "Close the gates. Prepare the elite guard. No one enters this kingdom without meeting my teeth first." The warriors moved instantly. He turned back to Lyria, lowering his voice. "You're shaking." "I'm not." "You are." His fingers brushed her arm, not possessive, but reassuring. "Look at me," he murmured. She did. His gaze wasn't angry. It was steady, protective, fiercely gentle. "I told you I wanted to earn you," Kale said quietly. "I cannot do that if I let anyone take you from me." Her breath stuttered. "Kale, they're not wolves you can negotiate with." A shadow crossed his face. "Who hurt you?" Lyria stepped back, guilt clouding her eyes. "I didn't want trouble for your kingdom. That's why I never told you. I thought if I stayed hidden—" "You don't hide anymore." His voice was soft, but absolute. "You think I want your life only when it's easy? No, Lyria. If I want you on my bed, beside my throne, or in my arms, I must want you even when the world is breaking." Her throat tightened painfully. Before Lyria could answer, a horn blasted again, closer. The massive iron gates trembled. A tall, snarling wolf stepped forward, the Northern Claw Alpha himself. "Draven, we know the girl is inside your walls. Hand her over." Kale's smile was icy. "The only thing I hand over is your corpse if you step 1 inch closer." The enemy Alpha laughed. "She belongs to us, marked and promised. She ran. Bring her out or we take her by force." Lyria stumbled back, trembling. Kale caught her instantly. His arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her behind him. "She belongs to no one, especially not to you." The enemy rival snarled. "And who is she to you, Draven? A toy? A passing thrill?" Kale's gaze turned molten. He pushed Lyria gently behind him. "She is the woman I will go to war for." Gasps erupted across the courtyard. Lyria couldn't breathe. The enemy Alpha sneered. "Then prepare your coffin." Kale stepped forward, kingly and terrifying. "I am the coffin." The gates shook harder, weapons drawn, wolves snarling, tension splitting the air like lightning. Lyria grabbed Kale's arm. "Please," she whispered, "don't start a war because of me." Kale turned to her, lifting her chin with a touch that felt like a vow. "I don't start wars for you," he said softly. "I fight them." Before she could speak, boom! The gates cracked. The enemy claw wolves charged, and Kale shifted into the largest, fiercest wolf she had ever seen. A king ready to tear the world apart for her.
The wolf who would not let her fall. The world exploded into chaos. Wolves collided like storms, claws clashing, teeth tearing into fur and flesh. Roars shook the battlefield as warriors fought to protect their king and the woman he'd vowed to defend. Lyria backed against a stone wall, heart pounding so violently it hurt. She'd seen wars, but never one started in her name. Kale's wolf form was a force of nature, massive, dark, crowned by moonfire swirling in his fur. Every strike of his claws sent enemies flying. Every bite was a promise. No one touches her. But the northern claw pack was relentless. 20, 30 wolves, all charging toward the same target, her. A warrior grabbed her from behind. Lyria screamed, but before the sound even left her throat, Kale slammed into the attacker, ripping him away with brutal precision. Blood sprayed across the dirt. Kale turned to her, wolf eyes glowing gold. Protective, feral, possessive. "Kale," she whispered, trembling. "There are too many." He growled, nudging her behind him, making it clear the world would break before he'd let her be hurt. But something was wrong. Another surge of wolves poured through the cracked gate. 3 attackers targeted Kale at once, biting into him, dragging him down. Lyria's breath shattered. "Kale!" Instinct overpowered fear. Her wolf surged forward, claws igniting with the strange silver flame she'd always tried to suppress. She leapt into the fray. Her claws slashed one wolf off Kale's back. Her elbow struck another across the jaw. A final enemy lunged at her throat, and Kale intercepted midair, taking the bite himself. Lyria froze. He'd taken a wound meant for her. "No!" she cried, and the silver flame burst from her skin, forcing the attacker off him with a wave of moonlit energy. Gasps echoed across the battlefield. Even the enemy wolves stopped. Her body blazed with silver fire, eyes glowing with an ancient light she didn't understand. Kale, wounded but standing, shifted back into human form, breathing hard, blood streaking his chest. He stared at her as if seeing a miracle. "Lyria," his voice was hoarse. "What are you?" She looked at her hands, still glowing. "I don't know. I never knew." The enemy Alpha stepped forward, snarling. "That power belongs to our clan. She was born from our bloodline. That flame is ours." Kale wiped blood from his mouth, smirking darkly. "It belongs to no one but her." Then he turned to Lyria, stepping close, ignoring the blood soaking his side. He lifted her trembling hand and pressed his lips softly against it. "You saved me," he whispered. Her breath caught. "You protected me first." Kale's thumb caressed her cheek, gentle despite the battlefield burning around them. "You think I want you for your power?" His voice was low, raw. "Lyria, if you were ordinary, powerless, fragile, quiet, I would still want you with the same hunger." Her chest tightened painfully. "Kale!" He leaned in, forehead resting against hers. "I don't care where you come from," he murmured. "I only care where you stand." His fingers slid down her arm, pulling her closer, voice dropping to a possessive whisper meant for her alone. "And I want you standing beside me." Before she could respond, the enemy Alpha roared, "Enough! She is mine to claim!" He didn't even look at him. He looked only at her. "Lyria, do you want to run?" She shivered. "No." "Do you want me to fight for you?" Her lips parted. "Yes." Kale smiled, a dangerous, beautiful, kingly smile. "Then watch," he whispered,
how your king destroys anyone who thinks they own you.
The king who fought for more than a throne. The air trembled. Kale stepped forward, every line of his body coiled with lethal purpose. The battlefield fell into an eerie hush as wolves staggered back, not from fear of the enemy Alpha, but from the fury burning in their king. The enemy Alpha, Revoke, towered over the torn ground, lips curled. "Draven," Revoke spat, "you stand between me and what is mine." Kale rolled his shoulders, blood dripping from his side. "Not yours. Not now. Not ever." Revoke laughed. "You cannot protect her from what she is. That flame in her veins belongs to the northern—" Kale moved. A blur. A strike. A crack of bone. Revoke staggered backwards, clutching his jaw. Kale didn't roar. He didn't threaten. He simply stared, with the chilling calm of a king who had already decided the outcome. "You made one mistake," Kale said softly. "You touched what I care about." Lyria, standing behind the king's guards, pressed her hand over her heart. He wasn't posturing. He wasn't grandstanding. He was furious. And furious Kale was terrifying. Revoke's eyes darkened. "She belongs to our bloodline, to our tradition, to me." Kale tilted his head. "Did you ask her?" Revoke blinked. "What?" Kale pointed at Lyria without looking back. "She can speak. Or have you forgotten women are not possessions?" Gasps spread through both packs. Even Lyria's breath caught. Kale's voice dropped, velvet and dangerous. "If she chooses you, I step aside." He turned slightly. "Lyria, who do you choose?" The world froze. Every wolf turned to her. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Lyria's throat tightened. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "I choose freedom." Kale smiled, slow, proud. Revoke snarled, "That is not an answer." "She chose to be free from you, and she will remain free from you." Kale cut in, stepping forward. Revoke lunged. Kale met him mid-leap. Wolves dove out of the way as the two alphas collided with bone-shattering force. Claws slashed, fangs clashed. Revoke's strength was monstrous, fueled by rage and hunger for dominance. But Kale fought differently. He fought with control, with precision, with purpose, with love. Every movement protected the path back to Lyria. Every strike carried the promise he intended to keep. Revoke pinned him for a second, snarling into his face. "She will never be your queen." Kale's grip tightened around Revoke's throat. "She doesn't have to be queen," Kale growled. "But she will be mine." With a brutal twist, Kale threw Revoke across the ground. The enemy Alpha hit the earth hard, rolling until he crashed against a boulder. Kale strode toward him, chest heaving, eyes ablaze. Revoke forced himself up, blood dripping from his mouth. "This isn't over." Kale's voice was a lethal whisper. "Oh, it is." He unleashed his wolf in one explosive shift, fur erupting, claws gleaming. One swipe sent Revoke crashing down. Kale stood over him, growling low and final. Revoke went still, defeated, broken. The remaining Northern Claw wolves fled. Silence settled.
Kale shifted back into human form, breath ragged, body bleeding, but his eyes sought only her. Lyria ran to him instinctively. "Kale, your wounds." She caught her wrist gently, pulling her closer, close enough that her breath mingled with his. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, tears glassing her eyes. "Good. I can bleed. You can't." Her heart twisted. He touched her cheek, smearing his own blood across her skin without noticing. "Don't cry. I'm not." "You are." He brushed her tears with his thumb. "And I hate it." Her voice cracked. "You risked your life." "I would risk more," he murmured. She looked at him, at the king who destroyed an army just to keep her breathing. "Kale, why?" Kale's answer was quiet, raw, unshielded. "Because every time you look at me, I forget how to be alone." Her breath caught. He leaned closer, not kissing her, just close enough to make her knees weaken. "And I want to know what it feels like to have you choose me. Not because I'm king, but because your heart wants me." Her wolf trembled at his words. She opened her mouth to respond, but a sudden sharp pain shot through her chest. Lyria gasped, her knees buckled. Kale caught her instantly, panic flooding his eyes. "Lyria, what's happening?" She clutched her chest, breath shattering. "I don't know." Silver flames erupted across her veins. Her eyes turned pure moonlight. Kale yelled for the healers. But deep inside, he realized something. This wasn't an injury. This was an awakening.
The awakening that terrified a king. Lyria's scream tore through the courtyard. Silver fire burst along her arms, racing beneath her skin like lightning trapped inside her veins. Her body arched, trembling violently as the force inside her fought to break free. Kale held her tight, his voice cracking with fear he never showed anyone. "Lyria, look at me! Look at me!" She couldn't. Her eyes glowed pure moonfire, unfocused and wild. Warriors backed away, whispering. "She's transforming. That's not a shift. What is that? Is she dying?" Kale snarled at anyone who came too close. "Don't touch her. I swear by the moon if any of you lay a hand on her." But even he didn't know how to save her. Lyria's body convulsed again, silver flames engulfing her hands. The ground beneath her cracked, glowing as if the earth itself responded to her power. Kale lifted her into his arms. "Hold on," he whispered fiercely. "I won't let you go. Not now. Not ever." Her fingers tightened on his shirt, desperate, shaking. "Kale, something's inside me. I can't breathe." Kale pressed his forehead to hers, voice trembling for the first time. "I'm right here. Just breathe with me. Follow my voice." But her power surged again. A wave of raw silver energy blasted outward, knocking warriors to their knees. Kale shielded her with his body, taking the brunt of the shock, gritting his teeth as pain tore through him. "Damn it! Lyria, stay with me!" Her glowing eyes suddenly snapped open. She whispered one word through clenched teeth. "Run." Kale froze. "What?" "Kale, move." Before he could react, boom! A massive burst of silver fire exploded from her chest, launching Kale across the courtyard.
He hit the ground hard, rolling, but forced himself up instantly, even though blood dripped down his back. "Laria!" She floated inches above the ground, hair whipping wildly, flames spiraling around her like a crown of moonlight. Her voice layered with something ancient, something not entirely hers. Kael Draven, step back. Every warrior bowed instinctively, not to Lyria, but to the presence inside her. Kael staggered forward anyway. "I'm not stepping back from her." Her glowing gaze locked onto him. "I am not Lyria. Not now." Kael's entire body went still. "Then who am I speaking to?" The silver fire dimmed slightly, just enough for a feminine silhouette of light to appear behind Lyria. Tall, ethereal, crowned in starlight. Every wolf dropped to their knees. Every wolf except Kael. The voice spoke again. "I am the Moon Mother, the first wolf, the fire in your bloodlines, and I rise only when destiny is broken." Kael's breath caught. This wasn't possible. The Moon Mother had not manifested in centuries. "Why are you inside her?" he demanded. The Moon Mother's light flickered, almost gentle. "Because she is my vessel, my last daughter, my final flame." Lyria's body trembled violently, as if the presence was too heavy for her mortal form. Kael stepped closer. "If you are her vessel, then why is she in pain?" The Moon Mother answered with sorrow. "Because she is awakening too soon. The power I placed within her was meant to bloom when her heart found its true mate." Kael's heart stopped. "And you think that mate is me?" he whispered. The Moon Mother's voice softened. "Not think, Alpha King. No." Lyria's eyes glowed, her own voice breaking through for a moment. "Kael, I didn't want this." He took her face in both hands, despite the burning heat, despite the power threatening to tear him apart. "Listen to me," he whispered. "This isn't happening because of what you are." His forehead touched her again. "It's happening because you were never meant to face this alone." The silver fire flared, then began dimming, slowly, painfully. Her body dropped into Kael's arms, unconscious, smoke rising from her skin. The Moon Mother's voice faded. "Protect her, Kael Draven, for when she wakes, the world will try to claim her again." And then, silence. Kael lifted Lyria gently, cradling her as if she were the most fragile thing in existence. He pressed a trembling kiss to her forehead. "You're mine to protect," he whispered. "And I swear, no god, no pack, no destiny will take you from me." He stood, carrying her into the castle, while every wolf bowed as he passed, realizing something new. Their king wasn't just fighting for a woman. He was fighting for the heart of a goddess reborn.
The king who laid down his crown for her. Kael pushed through the palace halls with Lyria in his arms, leaving a streak of blood on the polished stone. His own wounds burned, but he didn't stop. Not once. Warriors parted without a word. Servants bowed, eyes wide with fear and awe. Lyria, unconscious, glowing faintly, looked impossibly fragile. Kael entered his private chambers, kicking the heavy doors shut behind him. Only then did his voice finally break. "Lyria, please wake up." He laid her gently on his bed, not the healer's wing. He refused to leave her in anyone else's care. Her body trembled beneath the sheets, breath shallow, silver sparks flickering across her skin like dying stars. Kale sat beside her, running a shaking hand across her forehead. You said you loved freedom, but destiny doesn't care about freedom, does it? It just takes. His voice dropped to a raw, aching confession. I would give up this throne if it meant you'd open your eyes. The door opened quietly. Kale's beta, Roran, stepped in with a bow. My king, the council is demanding an emergency meeting. Let them demand. Kale didn't look away from Lyria. They're saying, he hesitated, that keeping her here puts the kingdom at risk. Kale's voice turned lethal. Anyone who believes that can walk into the woods and join the exiles. Roran stiffened. Kale, I agree, but the council thinks she carries power we cannot contain. Kale finally turned, eyes burning. I don't need to contain her. I need to protect her. Roran sighed. Then they will ask another question, one that may divide the kingdom. Kale clenched his jaw. Say it. Will the Alpha King take her as mate? If she is destined for you, they want a claim that binds her fully to our pack. Kale froze. His heartbeat slammed once, twice, too hard. His eyes slowly drifted back to Lyria's face. Her lips parted slightly, breath uneven. Her lashes trembled as if fighting nightmares. He brushed her cheek with unbearable tenderness. Mating her would bind her life to mine, he said quietly. It would give her protection under our laws, make her untouchable. Roran nodded. And it would also put a target on her back larger than before. Kale exhaled shakily. I don't want her bound to me, because the council demands it. His thumb traced Lyria's jaw, gentle and slow. I only want her bound to me if her heart chooses mine, not because she is a vessel of a goddess. Roran bowed his head. Then I'll keep the council at bay. Kale's voice dropped to a whisper. Thank you. Leave us. Roran left with a nod, closing the door silently. Kale stood, pulling off his bloodied shirt, revealing claw marks and bruises that would take days to heal. He cleaned himself quickly, then returned to Lyria's side, lowering himself onto the edge of the bed. He took her hand, small, warm, trembling, and lifted it to his lips. I told you I wanted to earn you, he whispered against her skin, and I meant every word. But gods, Lyria, I'm losing the battle with myself. He lowered his forehead to her hand. I want you, he said quietly, not as a duty, not as destiny, not as a goddess. He lifted his head, eyes dark with longing. I want you as mine. Lyria's lips parted. A faint, broken whisper escaped. Kale. He froze, heart lurching. Lyria? Her fingers curled weakly around his. Don't leave me. Kale's breath shattered. He leaned closer, cupping her cheek with both hands, his voice trembling. I'm not going anywhere, he promised, even if the world burns for it. Her eyes fluttered open, half-lidded, confused, glowing faintly with silver light. She looked at him as if seeing her entire world in one moment. Stay, she whispered. Kale lowered his forehead to hers. I'll stay, he breathed,
I'll stay as long as you want me, and even longer." For the first time, her lips touched his cheek, soft, weak, but real. Not a mating mark, not a destiny sign, just a woman choosing the man who had chosen her first. Cale closed his eyes, trembling as he whispered back, "I'm yours." But neither of them noticed. Silver flames flickered at Lyria's heart again, awakening something stronger, something hungrier, something that would soon change everything.
The night he couldn't let her go. The storm had calmed, but inside the Alpha King's chambers, a different kind of storm brewed, slow, deliberate, and dangerously intimate. Lyra sat on the edge of the balcony rail, staring at the silver moon. Her hair fluttered behind her like a trail of dark fire. She didn't hear Aldrin enter, but she felt him. The air shifted, the temperature changed. The bond tugged her heart toward him like a magnet. A slow exhale escaped her lips. "Your Majesty." Aldrin didn't respond immediately. He walked toward her with that predatory grace, the kind only an alpha born under prophecy possessed. His voice, when he spoke, came out low, threaded with an emotion he had mastered all his life, but was now losing control over. "Lyra, will you keep calling me that when my wolf aches each time you do?" She swallowed. "What should I call you?" He stepped behind her, close enough for his breath to graze her neck, close enough for her heartbeat to betray her. "My name," he whispered, "falling from your lips like a prayer." Lyra's chest tightened. Her wolf shivered beneath her skin. "Lyra," she breathed. His control snapped a little. Again. "Aldrin." He exhaled slowly, as though her voice was undoing centuries of discipline. She stood up to put distance, but his hand gently closed around her wrist. Not forceful, not possessive, but pleading. "Don't run from me tonight," he said softly. "Just allow me to be near you." Her eyes softened. "I'm not running." He stepped in front of her, brushing a strand of her hair behind her ear. "You are fire, Lyra. You burn me, and you heal me at the same time." She looked away. "I don't know what you want from me." "Everything," he answered without hesitation. "Your trust, your lips, your laughter, your nights, your mornings, your stubborn heart that refuses to look at me for too long because you know what will happen." Her breath hitched. "And what will happen?" A slow, sinful smile curved his lips. "You'll fall for me, hard, beyond reason, beyond fear, beyond whatever makes you push me away." Her cheeks warmed. "Aldrin." He moved even closer, voice lowering to a velvet growl. "Do you think I don't know how you breathe differently when I'm near? How your pulse jumps when I say your name?" He traced a finger along her jaw. "I feel it, Lyra. Your wolf recognizes mine, even if you try to deny it." Her knees weakened. His presence was overwhelming, intoxicating, impossible to escape. And yet, she liked it. But Lyra forced a breath. "You're the Alpha King. You can have any she-wolf in this realm. Why me?" His answer came without hesitation. "Because none of them make my wolf kneel." She froze. Aldrin rarely spoke about his wolf's submission, and Alpha's pride did not allow such vulnerability. He continued, "When you speak, my wolf listens. When you walk away, he growls at me. When you hurt, he feels it. And when you look at me,
He cupped her cheek, eyes softening in a way she had never seen. "I forget every battle I have ever fought." Silence stretched between them, warm, electric, dangerous. Finally, Lyra whispered, "And what do you want tonight, Aldrin?" He could have said many things. He could have pulled her into his arms. He could have kissed her senseless. But he didn't. Instead, he gave her the one thing she didn't expect. A chance. She blinked. A chance for what? For you to stop seeing me as a king and start seeing me as a man who is utterly, hopelessly in love with you. Her heart trembled. And he wasn't done. "So tonight," he said, gently lifting her hand to his lips, "I won't ask you to be mine." He kissed her knuckles, slow and reverential. "I'll ask you to let me earn you." Her breath caught. Her wolf whimpered softly. Aldrin stepped back, giving her room, giving her choice. "Good night, Lyra. But remember this before you sleep." His gaze locked onto hers, intense, promising. "I am the storm outside your window. I am the warmth you run towards, and I will love you so completely that every night without me will feel empty." He turned and walked away, leaving her breathless, stunned, and trembling. Lyra looked up at the moon, and for the first time, she whispered to herself, "Moon goddess, what am I going to do with a man like him?"
The night he broke his own rule. Lyra barely slept. Aldrin's words replayed in her mind, the way his voice dipped when he said, "Earn you," the way his eyes softened like he was offering her the parts of himself no one else had ever seen. She touched her fingers to her lips, embarrassed at how many times she'd replayed the moment he kissed her hand. But she wasn't the only restless one. Far from it. Inside the Alpha King's private courtyard, Aldrin was sparring with two of his elite guards. No armor, no mercy, no restraint. His wolf paced beneath his skin like a storm trapped inside a man. "Enough," Commander Fenwick said, panting. "You're distracted. What's happening to you?" Aldrin didn't answer. He threw his dagger onto the ground and dragged a hand through his hair. His breathing was deep, uneven, not from exertion, but from something far worse. Longing. "She doesn't understand," Aldrin muttered. "She thinks she's just another wolf in my kingdom." Fenwick raised a brow. "And she isn't?" Aldrin glared at him. "No. No one has ever undone my control the way she does. No one has ever made me want the way she does." The commander smirked. "So go to her." Aldrin froze. "No," he said, jaw tightening. "I promised her space tonight." Fenwick shrugged. "Then why are you standing outside her wing?" Aldrin turned sharply. Because the commander was right. He had drifted to Lyra's corridor without realizing it, pulled by instinct, by bond, by a gravity he didn't know how to fight. His wolf snarled inside him, "Go to her." "No," Aldrin said, through clenched teeth. "I won't push her." "You love her." The wolf growled again. "We love her. She needs to know." Aldrin squeezed his eyes shut. He was the Alpha King, feared by kingdoms, unshaken by war, yet this one woman had him arguing with his own wolf like a fool. Finally, he turned away. 3 steps. 4. 5. A soft sound stopped him. A quiet, almost delicate whimper carried through the hallway from Lyra's room. His wolf reacted instantly, a violent, protective snarl.
Aldrin didn't hesitate. He pushed the door open. Lyra sat on the floor, holding her ankle, breath shallow. A fallen vase lay shattered beside her. Her eyes widened when she saw him. "Aldrin, what are you—" He was already kneeling in front of her. "What happened?" His voice was sharper than he intended. She looked embarrassed. "I tried reaching the shelf. I slipped." I exhaled slowly, relief mixed with irritation. "You should have called a maid." "I didn't want to bother anyone." I sighed. "You're not a bother, Lyra, especially not to me." He lifted her gently, one arm beneath her legs, the other around her back. She gasped. "Aldrin, I can walk." "And I can carry you," he said simply. "Let me." She didn't fight it. He placed her carefully on the bed, his touch slow, reverent, almost intimate. He removed her boot, examining the ankle. "No swelling," he murmured. "You'll be fine." His fingers brushed her skin, warm, careful, lingering just a moment too long. Her breath trembled. "Aldrin." He looked up, meeting her gaze, and for the first time becoming king, his control slipped just a fraction, but enough for her to see the depth of what he felt. His voice dropped to a confession. "I tried staying away. I swear I did." His hand moved to her cheek, "But I heard you in pain, and every instinct in me shattered." She opened her mouth, but he gently pressed a finger to her lips. "Listen," he whispered. "I don't want your fear. I don't want your hesitation. I just want—" He stopped. Emotion clogged his throat. Lyra swallowed. "Aldrin, what do you want?" His eyes softened, molten and unguarded. "You," he said. "Just you, in whatever way you're willing to give yourself." Silence. Her heart hammered. She reached up and touched his jaw, a small gesture, but one that made his wolf whimper like the world had finally made sense. "Aldrin," she whispered, voice trembling but honest, "you're getting too close." He leaned even closer. "That's the thing, Lyra." He brushed her hair back, lips near her ear. "I don't want to be anywhere else." Her breath hitched. His did too. The air grew warm, heavy, familiar, dangerous. Then, she gently pushed his chest. Not in rejection, but in warning. "Aldrin, if you stay any longer, I won't be able to think straight." He stopped, looked into her eyes, and smiled, slow, sinful, utterly confident. "Then I'm winning." He stood, forcing himself to walk away, for her sake, not his. At the door, he turned back. "I'll come by at dawn to check your ankle." "Aldrin," she began. He cut her off with a smirk that melted her spine. "Don't bother protesting. I won't listen." And he left her there, breathless, blushing, and wanting more than she was ready to admit.
The morning that changed everything. Lyra barely slept, not because of pain, her ankle hardly hurt anymore, but because of Aldrin, his touch, his voice, his confession. He wanted her, not as a king wants a prize, but as a man wants the one woman who disarms him. By dawn, she was certain of one thing. She had to put distance between them before she did something reckless. She stood from the bed, testing her ankle, perfectly fine. She dressed quickly, tying her hair back, preparing to slip into the training grounds before Aldrin arrived. But the moment she opened her door, he was there. Back, leaning against the wall, arms folded, eyes fixed entirely, dangerously, on her. She froze. "Aldrin!" He straightened. "You're up early." "I was going to train,
My ankle is healed, so you don't need to—"
"Oh, I do." He stepped closer. "Last night, you almost couldn't walk. So today, you're not running anywhere." She swallowed hard. Why did his voice always feel like warm silk and trouble combined? "Aldrin," she said softly, "it's really unnecessary." He tilted his head. "Is avoiding me necessary?" Lyra stiffened. "I'm not—" "Yes, you are." His tone was gentle but unyielding. "You think if you put space between us, your feelings will vanish." Her heart thumped loudly. Aldrin lowered his voice. "But distance won't help you, Lyra, because everything you're trying to run from is already inside you." Her breath hitched. He stepped even closer, crowding her gently against the wall, but not touching, not trapping, just close enough for her wolf to feel his heat. "Tell me to leave," he whispered. His breath brushed her cheek. "If you truly want space, tell me to walk away." She opened her mouth. No sound came out. Aldrin's eyes softened with victory and something deeper, something terrifyingly sincere. "That's what I thought." She pushed at his chest again, just like last night, but this time he caught her hands. "Lyra," he murmured, voice low, "I want to understand you, but you shut me out every time I get close." She hesitated. Aldrin loosened his grip, not letting her go entirely, but giving her freedom to pull away if she wished. She didn't. So he spoke, softly, but with a vulnerability she'd never heard from him before. "I don't just want your body. I want your trust, your thoughts, your truth." Her throat tightened. "And what truth do you think I'm hiding?" she whispered. "That you want me back." He leaned in, lips barely brushing her forehead. "That you feel the bond pulling you the same way mine pulls me." Another soft brush of his lips, a kiss not on the mouth, but tender, reverent. She closed her eyes. He wasn't wrong, but she wasn't ready to admit it. Aldrin pulled back slightly, searching her face. "Come to breakfast with me," he said gently. "No titles, no pressure, just you and me." Lyra opened her eyes. She wanted to refuse. She should refuse. But his voice, his sincerity, the warmth in his gaze. "Aldrin," she whispered, "why me? You could have any she-wolf in the realm." He smiled faintly, sadly. "They can't see me." He touched her cheek. "You do." For a full heartbeat, neither of them breathed. Then Lyra lowered her gaze. "Fine," she said quietly. "Breakfast." Aldrin exhaled, a mix of relief and triumph. He offered his hand. Lyra hesitated. Then, slowly, she placed her fingers in his. His wolf purred so loudly she felt it ripple through him. But as they began walking toward the dining hall, a booming roar echoed through the palace. A guard raced down the corridor. "Your Majesty, an intruder crossed the borders. A powerful one. The warriors are struggling." Aldrin's expression snapped from tender to deadly in a second. He released Lyra's hand gently. "Stay here," he ordered. Her wolf bristled. "I'm coming with you." "Lyra, I said I'm coming." Aldrin's jaw tightened. He didn't like it, but he respected it. "Stay close to me," he growled. And just like that, the moment of soft romance shattered, replaced by tension, danger, and the threat approaching the palace walls. But one thing was clear.
Lyra wasn't letting him face it alone. And Aldrin had never needed her more.
The intruder in the shadows. The morning sun barely touched the castle walls when chaos erupted. Aldrin, fully armored, led his elite guard into the courtyard. Lyra followed closely, silver fire faintly flickering beneath her skin, her wolf restless, sensing danger even before the intruder appeared. A lone figure stood at the outer gate, a wolf unlike any Aldrin had seen, towering, muscular, cloaked in shadows, eyes glowing crimson. "Who is that?" Lyra whispered. Aldrin's jaw tightened. "That's no ordinary intruder. That's a hunter sent for you." Lyra froze. "My what?" "Your life is a prize, Lyra," he said, moving in front of her protectively. "And some monsters will stop at nothing to claim it." The shadowed wolf stepped forward, claws glinting in the sunlight, teeth bared. "I am the one who will awaken her fully," he growled. "And you, Alpha King, will regret standing in my way." Aldrin's wolf growled so low it shook the stone beneath their feet. "You'll die before you touch her," he snarled, claws and fangs appearing in a flash of controlled rage. Lyra's wolf surged, instinct screaming, "Fight with him! Fight now!" But Aldrin grabbed her wrist. "Stay," he ordered, his voice firm yet gentle. "Let me handle this. Watch and learn, but don't step in." Lyra's eyes burned with a mix of frustration and awe. His possessiveness and trust. The intruder lunged. Aldrin met him midair with a snarl, and the two collided like storms clashing. Claws tore at armor and flesh alike. Each strike Aldrin made was precise, calculated, and lethal, but tempered by a deep restraint. He could kill the intruder in a second, but he wanted him to feel the cost first. Lyra's breath caught as she watched him, heart thundering. This is the man I chose, the man who would destroy the world for me. The intruder struck again, landing a hit on Aldrin's shoulder. Aldrin stumbled but didn't fall. Instead, he grabbed the enemy's arm, twisting it with brutal force, then pinned him to the ground. "Tell me," Aldrin growled, face inches from the intruders, "why are you here?" The hunter laughed, a cruel, hollow sound. "To claim her power! She's destined for me, and no alpha will stop me!" Aldrin's eyes glowed golden. "No one claims what is mine, and that includes you." With a roar, he shifted into full wolf form, massive and terrifying, silver fire coursing along his fur like liquid moonlight. He didn't strike immediately. Instead, he circled the intruder, forcing him to feel fear, respect, and absolute power. Lyra's wolf whimpered in delight, craving his closeness, craving his dominance. Then, without warning, Aldrin lunged. A single swipe sent the intruder crashing into the courtyard wall. Dust rose. Warriors watched in awe, unable to intervene. Aldrin shifted back to human form, panting but unbroken. He advanced, standing between the intruder and Lyra. "Stay behind me." His voice was low, dangerous, and protective. "No one touches her. No one. Ever." Lyra stepped forward, defiance in her eyes. "I'm not staying behind you." Aldrin's golden eyes softened just for a moment before hardening again. "Then stay close and don't make me regret trusting you." The intruder, beaten but alive, snarled, "This isn't over, Alpha King. She will be mine." Aldrin's smile was deadly, cruel, and intimate all at once. "She will never be yours. She is mine. Understand that or die trying."
Lyra's hand found his, fingers intertwining, silent yet charged with promise. Her wolf purred, his wolf growled, and together they stood, a king and his she-wolf, untouchable, unbreakable, and ready for whatever came next. But deep in the shadows beyond the gates, more hunters stirred, and Aldrin knew this war for Lyra had only just begun.
The king who whispered in shadows. Night fell over the Black-Fanged dominion, but Aldrin couldn't sleep. Lyra had been resting after the morning battle, still trembling slightly from the intensity of her awakening. Her silver fire flickered faintly in the darkness, illuminating the room like moonlight trapped in her veins. Aldrin sat beside her bed, boots off, leaning against the wall. He hadn't moved an inch since she had fallen asleep. Her quiet breathing stirred something inside him he didn't bother hiding anymore. Possessiveness, adoration, and a hunger that burned hotter than any battlefield. "Lyra," he whispered softly, his fingers brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "You woke me tonight." She shifted slightly in her sleep, murmuring his name. Aldrin's heart thumped painfully. He leaned closer, forehead against hers, and whispered, almost as if telling a secret to the night. "You are mine." Not out loud, not for the world, but for her. Just for her to hear, even if she didn't awaken. Her eyes fluttered open, sleepy, unsure. "Aldrin?" she said. "I'm here," Aldrin said, voice low, honeyed with heat and protection. "You don't have to be afraid. Not from anyone. Not from anything." Her wolf stirred beneath her skin, sensing the safety he radiated and the desire. She sat up slowly, brushing a hand along his chest. "You stay, even after everything?" "I never leave," he murmured. "You think an Alpha King leaves what he has fought for, what he would fight to the end for? No, I stay. For you. Always for you." Lyra's breath hitched. "I don't even understand this. Me. Us." Aldrin tilted his head, smiling faintly. "You don't have to understand. You just have to let yourself feel it. Let me in. Let me love you, Lyra. Let me be your home." She reached for his hand, entwining her fingers with his. "I'm scared," she admitted softly. "Of losing control, of what I am, of what I could do." Aldrin leaned closer, pressing a gentle kiss to the back of her hand. "Your power terrifies me, in the best way, and I would rather face that fear with you than live a lifetime without you." Her lips trembled. You really mean that?" He smiled, a dangerous, tender curve of lips. "I would cross every enemy, every shadow, every storm, just to hear your name in safety." The tension between them thickened, palpable. The air burned with desire and devotion. Lyra rested her head against his shoulder, her wolf purring softly. "You make it so easy to want you," she murmured. Aldrin wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close, forehead resting against hers. "And you make it impossible to let go," he whispered back. Outside, the night was silent. But inside that chamber, two hearts beat as one. Two wolves curled together, and a king realized that protecting a queen was not enough. He wanted to own her entirely, in heart, body, and soul. A soft wind brushed the curtains. The silver fire in Lyra's veins pulsed faintly. And Aldrin knew without doubt the war for her heart and her power was far from over. But for this night, he would stay. He would protect her. And he would whisper promises in the shadows where no one could touch them.
The shadow that breached the walls. The sun had barely risen when an urgent howl shattered the quiet of the Black-Fanged dominion. Aldrin's eyes snapped open, golden and fierce. Lyra stirred beside him, sensing his sudden alertness. "Stay," he whispered, his hand gripping her wrist. "Do not move until I say." But Lyra's wolf bristled, claws itching beneath her skin. She rose slightly, silver fire flickering faintly along her arms. "I'm coming," she said softly. Aldrin shook his head, but his grips loosened slightly. "Not yet. I need to see the threat first." They stepped onto the balcony together. Outside, the outer walls trembled with unnatural force. Shadows moved in impossible ways, creeping along the battlements. Aldrin's jaw tightened. "They've breached the walls," he murmured. Lyra's eyes widened. "Already?" Aldrin didn't answer. His wolf surged beneath his skin, every muscle coiled for combat. A figure stepped from the shadows. A wolf unlike any he had faced. Taller, faster, cloaked in darkness. Eyes burning like embers. It was the intruder from before, and he had returned, stronger, hungrier, with an army of spectral wolves trailing behind him. "Alpha King," he hissed. "This time I will claim her." Lyra's silver flames flickered violently. "I can fight with you," she said, stepping forward. Aldrin grabbed her shoulders gently, making her stop. "Listen to me," he growled. "You fight at my side when I say. Until then, you are mine to protect. Understand?" Her wolf growled low, but she nodded. The intruder lunged. Aldrin met him instantly, claws and fangs flashing. The two collided with bone-shaking force, a blur of power and rage. Lyra watched, heart hammering. Her wolf surged, craving the fight. But more than that, craving him. Aldrin pinned the intruder against the stone wall, eyes glowing gold. "You will not touch her," he roared. The intruder snarled, struggling, but Aldrin's grip tightened. "She is mine," he whispered, his voice low, intimate and deadly. Lyra's silver flames erupted along her arms. She stepped forward, placing her hands on his shoulders. Her gaze locked with his, and for a moment, time froze. "I am with you," she whispered. Aldrin's wolf growled in delight. He shifted slightly, claws extended, body a wall of lethal beauty and raw power. Together they moved as one, a king and his she-wolf. Aldrin struck with precision, his every blow amplified by Lyra's silver fire. The intruder staggered, thrown back by the sheer force of their combined power. But as the intruder fell, he laughed. A hollow, cruel sound. "You cannot stop what is coming. The Moon Mother's blood calls more than just him." Aldrin's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" he demanded. The intruder vanished into the shadows, leaving a chilling promise in his wake. Lyra sank to her knees, exhausted, but Aldrin caught her instantly. He held her close, forehead pressed against hers. Her silver fire dimmed to a gentle glow, her wolf purring softly. "You always protect me," she murmured. He smiled faintly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I will always protect you. Because you are not just my queen. You are my heart, my wolf, my everything." The shadows outside lingered, whispering threats. But inside, Aldrin and Lyra shared a silent promise, a bond stronger than any army, any curse, any enemy. And for the first time since the battle began, they allowed themselves a fleeting moment of intimacy amidst the chaos. Their lips met, not rushed, not desperate, but slow, intentional, and consuming. A promise sealed in the quiet before war. But deep down, both knew this was only the calm before the storm. The war for Lyra's heart and her power was far from over.
The invitation of danger. The palace was quiet, but not for long. A messenger arrived at the gates, panting, blood-streaked, eyes wide with fear. Aldrin intercepted him immediately, the weight of authority pressing in every step. "My king, the Northern Claw, they've sent an envoy," the messenger gasped. "They demand a meeting with Lyra." Aldrin's golden eyes narrowed. "Lyra?" "Yes, Alpha King," the messenger stammered. "They claim she must be formally bound to their bloodline, or they will take her by force." Lyra froze behind him, her silver fire flickering nervously along her arms. "Bound by force," she whispered. Aldrin's jaw tightened. "No one touches you against your will," he growled. "Not now, not ever. They'll speak with me first." He turned to Lyra, his gaze intense and protective. "You stay close, no step out of my sight." Lyra's wolf growled softly, resisting, but she nodded, trusting him. The envoy arrived at dusk, a group of powerful northern wolves clad in ceremonial armor, eyes sharp and calculating. Their leader, a tall, imposing alpha named Thorok, stepped forward. "Alpha King Aldrin," he said smoothly, bowing slightly, "we come on behalf of our pack. Lyra's power is extraordinary. We wish to ensure it is properly claimed." Aldrin's golden eyes blazed. "Claimed? She is no one's possession. She is her own, and I am her protector." Thorok smirked. "Protector, yes, but one day she will belong to a mate stronger than you. We simply wish to guide her destiny." Lyra stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "No one guides my destiny but me. Not my power, not my life, and certainly not you." A murmur spread through the northern pack. Thorok's smirk faltered. "You speak boldly for a she-wolf in the presence of kings." Aldrin's hand closed around Lyra's, fingers threading with hers. "And she is fearless," he said, voice low, deadly. "She is mine to protect, and anyone who doubts that will regret it." Thorok's eyes narrowed. "Do you understand the consequences of denying your pack, Alpha King?" Aldrin stepped closer, chest nearly touching Lyra's. "Do you understand the consequences of threatening what is mine?" Lyra's wolf surged beneath her skin, responding to Aldrin's fury. Silver flames flickered along her veins, a visible warning to the intruders. Thorok hesitated. He had underestimated the bond between them. Not just love, but power, loyalty, and raw dominance. Aldrin's lips brushed Lyra's temple. "Tonight you rest. Tomorrow we prepare, together." Lyra's heart pounded as her wolf purred, intertwining with his strength. "You always make me feel safe," she whispered. "And you always make me feel alive," Aldrin replied, rough, intimate, a promise hidden in the darkness. Thorok's pack left without another word, but the threat lingered like a shadow across the moonlit walls. Inside, Aldrin held Lyra close, their foreheads pressed together. "Whatever comes, we face it as one. No pack, no alpha, no god will ever separate us. Lyra rested her hand against his chest, feeling his heartbeat, matching her wolf's rhythm to his. "Then I will not fear," she murmured, "not while I am with you." And in the silent night, their bond strengthened, a silent promise that no force in the world could break.
The outside threat. The night was thick with mist, curling through the trees like living shadows. Aldrin and Lyra stood atop the palace battlements, surveying the forests beyond the walls. The northern claw pack had retreated, for now, but Aldrin knew their return was inevitable. "Do you feel it?" Lyra whispered, her silver flames flickering faintly along her arms. Aldrin's golden eyes scanned the darkness. Always. Every shadow could hide a threat. Every breeze could carry an enemy. Her wolf growled low, a warning that mirrored his own inner tension. "I'm not afraid," she said, placing her hand on his chest. "Not while I have you." Aldrin's jaw tightened. He turned, pressing a forehead to hers, and whispered, voice rough with longing, "And I'm not afraid while I have you. But it won't always be enough. You have power that draws them like moths to fire." Lyra looked into his eyes, vulnerability flashing for the first time. "I don't know if I can protect myself or control it when they come." Aldrin cupped her face, tilting her chin so she met his gaze. "You won't have to. That's my job. Mine alone. You are my wolf, my heart, my everything." Her breath hitched. The intensity of his words and the heat radiating from his body made her wolf stir, craving him, craving the protection he promised. Suddenly, a howl ripped through the forest. Not far, not distant, dangerously close. Aldrin's wolf surged beneath his skin, claws extending, teeth gleaming. "Stay behind me," he ordered. "I will not ask twice." Lyra's eyes narrowed, silver flames flaring. "I'm not hiding." Aldrin's golden gaze softened just for a heartbeat, but hardened again instantly. "Then stay close. Move when I move. Fight when I say. Understand?" She nodded, heart racing, wolf surging with anticipation. From the shadows, figures emerged. Northern Claw scouts, armed and lethal. Aldrin didn't hesitate. In a blur of silver and gold, he struck, each movement precise, lethal, unstoppable. Lyra followed instinctively, her flames combining with his strikes. Together they became a storm, fire and fury intertwined. One scout broke through Aldrin's defense, lunging at Lyra. Time slowed. Aldrin roared, sweeping the intruder aside with a clawed hand. He spun, catching Lyra in a protective embrace, forehead pressing to hers. "Do you see why I keep you close?" he growled. Her pulse thundered. "I do," she whispered, breathless. He smiled faintly, brushing her hair back. "And yet, I want to hold you closer, always." The scouts fled into the forest, leaving Aldrin and Lyra standing together, chest to chest, wolves entwined, flames flickering along their veins. Aldrin pressed a rough kiss to her temple, low and possessive. "Tonight, we rest. Tomorrow, we fight again. But know this, wherever they go, wherever danger hides, I am there first. Always." Lyra closed her eyes, letting his warmth, strength, and devotion fill her.
"And I will follow," she murmured. "Always." Outside, the wind howled through the trees, but inside the Alpha King's arms, Lyra felt untouchable. And Aldrin, he felt whole for the first time in his life.
The awakening of her power. Dawn broke over the black-fanged dominion, casting silver light across the palace walls. Lyra awoke to a strange warmth pulsing beneath her skin. Her silver flames burned brighter than ever, streaking along her arms and chest like living moonlight. She sat up, eyes wide, sensing the surge of power coursing through her veins. Aldrin was already awake, seated at the edge of the bed, watching her with a mixture of awe and concern. His golden eyes softened as they met hers. "You're awake," he said, quietly, voice low, intimate. "And I can feel it. Your power has grown." Lyra looked at him, unsure. I don't know what's happening. It's stronger than before, and it's calling me." Aldrin stood and stepped closer, hand hovering over hers. "Then we must understand it together. This bond between us, it's not just protection, it's a connection. Your wolf and mine, they are linked now. Your power responds to me, and mine reacts to you." Her pulse quickened. "I feel it," she admitted. "When I'm near you, it's like I can do anything, see everything, control almost everything." Aldrin's gaze darkened with desire and reverence. "Exactly. And it's why I can't let you face anything alone. Your strength is unparalleled, but it is also precious to me." He reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Do you trust me, Lyra?" She nodded, her wolf growling softly in agreement. "I do, with everything." Aldrin's lips curved into a slow, possessive smile. "Then let me guide you. Let me show you what you are capable of, and when you're ready." His voice dropped, thick with desire. "I will claim you fully, not because I can, but because I want to, because you are mine in ways no one else could ever understand." Her breath hitched. Her silver flames pulsed brighter, feeding on his presence, responding to the undeniable pull between them. I don't know if I'm ready," she whispered. Aldrin knelt before her, taking her hands in his, eyes locking with hers. "Then I will wait," he said softly. "But know this, my patience is not weakness, and my desire will not be denied." Her wolf whimpered, sensing his dominance, his need, his unwavering protection. "I don't want to run from it anymore. From you, from this, whatever we are." Aldrin's hand moved to her cheek, thumb brushing her lips. "Good. Because I want everything, every heartbeat, every breath, every part of you." Her eyes glistened with tears of trust, fear, and longing. "Then we face it together," she whispered. Aldrin's lips met hers in a kiss that was gentle, yet commanding, tender, yet claiming. His wolf intertwined with hers, silver flames dancing across the room as their bond deepened in ways words could not describe. Outside, shadows stirred in the forest. The northern claw pack was plotting, and new threats were awakening. But inside the Alpha King's chambers, Lyra and Aldrin
were unstoppable, not just as king and she-wolf, but as mates, as equals, as one. And for the first time, both of them understood. Their hearts, their wolves, their power were bound together for life.
The first mating bond. Night fell like a velvet curtain over the Black-Fang Dominion, but the air crackled with tension. Aldrin and Lyra stood on the palace balcony, their hands entwined, silver fire from her veins lighting the night. "Are you ready?" Aldrin asked, voice low, almost a growl. "Are you ready for what?" Lyra whispered, her heart hammering. "The bond," he said, eyes golden and piercing. "The one that will tie us, body, soul, and wolf. Tonight we either cement our connection or risk losing everything we've built." Her wolf bristled in excitement and fear. I'm ready," she admitted softly, trembling. "But what if I'm not strong enough?" Aldrin stepped close, forehead resting against hers, his voice rough with passion and devotion. "You are stronger than any enemy, Lyra. Stronger than the Northern Claw. Stronger than your fears. And I will be right here, every heartbeat, every breath, until it's complete." She closed her eyes, feeling the surge of power between them, the pull of their wolves, the heat of their bond, and the undeniable attraction threatening to consume them both. "Then let me show you," Aldrin whispered, brushing his lips along her jaw, down her neck, igniting a fire deep within her. "Along how much I need you." Her wolf stirred violently, responding to his dominance and desire. Lyra gasped, gripping his shoulders. "Aldrin, She silenced him with a kiss, slow and commanding, his hand sliding down her back, holding her close. "You don't have to say a word," he murmured. "Your body, your soul, everything tells me what I need to know." The silver flames along her arms pulsed brighter as their bond intensified. Aldrin's presence alone amplified her power, drawing it out, merging it with his alpha energy. He pulled back slightly, eyes burning into hers. "This is more than desire," he whispered. "This is survival, trust, and connection. Our wolves, our hearts, they are one now." Lyra's breath hitched. "I feel it. I feel everything." Aldrin smiled low and dangerous. "And that's just the beginning. Tonight you'll see how deep this bond goes." He led her to the private chamber, the air thick with anticipation. The first steps of their mating bond ceremony were about trust, vulnerability, and mutual acceptance. He kneeled before her, holding her hands, golden eyes glowing in the dim light. "Lyra Vera, I vow to protect you, cherish you, and claim every piece of your heart and soul. Will you accept me completely?" Tears threatened her eyes as she whispered, "Yes, Aldrin, I am yours." At her consent, the bond surged, their wolves intertwining, silver flames and golden light merging. The energy was overwhelming, both intoxicating and terrifying. Aldrin drew her close, pressing her forehead to hers. "You are mine," he whispered, voice raw and trembling. Lyra's hands tangled in his hair as she whispered back, "And I am yours, always." The night was electric, their bond sealed not just by words, but by power, trust, and desire.
The night of blood and fire. The moon hung low and silver over the Black-Fang Dominion, casting long shadows across the palace walls. Aldrin stood at the gates, armor gleaming in the moonlight, eyes glowing golden. Beside him, Lyra's silver flames pulsed brightly along her arms and shoulders. The Northern Claw had returned, not scouts, not spies, but an entire force of bloodthirsty wolves, led by Thorok himself. "Are you ready?" Aldrin asked, voice low and commanding, his hand brushing hers. Lyra's wolf growled softly. "Always with you," she whispered. The Northern Claw surged forward like a tide of shadows. Aldrin's wolf roared from within, claws flashing as he leapt into battle. Lyra followed instinctively, flames dancing along her limbs, striking enemies with precision and power. Together they moved as one, alpha and mate, king and she-wolf, a force unstoppable. One of Thorok's lieutenants lunged at Lyra. Time slowed as Aldrin intercepted him, sweeping the attacker aside with a powerful swipe. His golden eyes met hers, conveying a silent promise. "I've got you. Always." Lyra's heart thudded, wolf surging with adrenaline. She struck back at the remaining attackers, her silver flames flaring brighter with each strike, empowered by Aldrin's presence. Thorok himself advanced, eyes blazing red, teeth bared. "You think your bond makes you stronger, Alpha King?" he hissed. "Power without dominance is weakness." Aldrin stepped in front of Lyra, chest rising and falling with controlled fury. "You're wrong," he growled. "Power without loyalty is meaningless, and she is loyal to me, to us, always." Lyra's wolf surged with pure instinct, flames leaping higher as she moved closer to Thorok. Aldrin caught her hand, holding her close. "Together," he whispered. "One strike, one mind, one heart." Their combined power erupted in a blinding wave, golden light from Aldrin, silver fire from Lyra, crashing into Thorok's forces like a storm. Wolves were thrown back, their ranks broken, morale shattered. Thorok roared in frustration and lunged at Aldrin. The Alpha King met him, teeth and claws flashing, but Lyra moved in perfect synchronicity, striking from the side, flames scorching his flank. Thorok stumbled, blinded by their combined fury. "You cannot win," he growled. Aldrin's voice was low, deadly, intimate. "You are already defeated. You should have never touched her." With a final surge, they struck together, Thorok crashing to the ground, vanquished but alive, forced to retreat with his remaining pack. Breathless, Lyra clung to Aldrin, heart pounding. We did it," she whispered, awestruck. Aldrin pressed a rough, possessive kiss to her temple, golden eyes softening. "Yes," he murmured, "and we will do it again if we have to, because no one, Lyra, no one will ever take you from me." Her wolf purred softly, intertwining with his. "I belong to you," she said, voice trembling, "and I always will." Aldrin's lips brushed her forehead, his voice a low growl. "And you will never have to doubt that, my wolf, never." Outside, the Northern Claw fled into the shadows, leaving behind whispers of revenge. But inside, the Alpha King and his she-wolf were untouchable. Together, bound by trust, power, and love, they were unstoppable.
The silent promises. The battlefield was quiet. The Northern Claw had retreated, but the air still trembled with the echo of the previous night's battle. Aldrin sat on the balcony, Lyra leaning against him, silver flames dimming to a gentle blow along her arms. Their wolves intertwined beneath the surface, low and content, but alert. "You fought well tonight," Aldrin murmured, lips brushing the top of her head. "You were magnificent." Lyra's eyes met his, soft but fierce. "I only fought well because you were there. Every step I felt you guiding me." Aldrin's hand brushed her cheek, thumb tracing her jawline. "Do you understand?" he whispered. "The bond we share, it's more than strength. It's trust. It's surrender. It's us." Her wolf stirred, responsive, purring with the rhythm of his heartbeat. "I feel it," she admitted, "all of it. Your power, your presence, it's overwhelming, but it doesn't scare me. It makes me whole." Aldrin leaned closer, pressing his forehead against hers. "You belong with me, Lyra, not just by power, not just by blood, but by choice. And that is the most beautiful bond of all." Lyra shivered at his words, her wolf responding to the intimacy, the security, the desire flowing between them. "I choose you," she whispered, voice trembling, "always, no matter what comes. And I choose you, always. In every life, every storm, every battle, I will find you, I will claim you, and I will protect you with everything I am." Their foreheads remained pressed together, breaths mingling, the world outside forgotten. Even the Northern Claw's threats seemed distant, powerless against the force of their connection. Aldrin traced his hand down her arm, over her silver-flamed skin, holding her close. "You are mine, Lyra, and I will never let anyone hurt you. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not ever." Lyra's hands tangled in his hair, holding him as tightly as he held her. "And I am yours," she whispered, "body, soul, and heart." The night deepened, and they stayed that way, two wolves, two hearts, two souls, perfectly aligned. Their bond was no longer just a promise, it was a force that could shake kingdoms. Aldrin kissed her gently, then deeper, conveying every emotion he could not speak aloud. Lyra responded, matching his intensity, letting herself trust completely. For the first time, both of them allowed themselves to feel safe, desired, and utterly united. But in the distance, the shadows whispered. Tharac's vow of revenge was still alive, and Aldrin knew that tomorrow the final battle would come. Yet tonight, nothing mattered except them.
The Alpha King claims his wolf. The sun rose blood-red over the Black-Fang Dominion, casting long shadows across the palace walls. Today, there would be no retreat. Aldrin stood at the gates, Lyra at his side, their wolves intertwined, golden and silver energies pulsing in unison. The Northern Claw pack had returned, stronger, more determined, led by Tharac, who glared at them with unmasked fury. "This ends today," Aldrin growled, voice carrying across the courtyard. "She is mine, and no one, not you, not your pack, will ever take her." Tharac sneered. "Alpha King, you overestimate your bond. She belongs to power, and I will claim it." Lyra stepped forward, flames igniting along her arms and shoulders. "Enough," she said, voice steady,
eyes glowing silver. "I am not yours to claim. I am mine, and mine with him." Aldrin pressed a hand to her back, drawing her close. "Yes," he murmured. "Together. Always." The Northern Claw attacked with ferocity, but Aldrin and Lyra moved as one. Aldrin's claws flashed golden, his strikes precise and devastating, while Lyra's silver flames tore through their enemies with unmatched power. Every movement was synchronized, every action an extension of their bond. Thorok charged at Aldrin, teeth bared, claws ready. Aldrin met him head-on, wolf energy exploding around them. Lyra followed instantly, flame surging, striking Thorok from the side. The combined force of Alpha King and She-Wolf was overwhelming. Thorok staggered, realizing too late that he had underestimated the power of true connection. Aldrin pinned Thorok against the palace wall, eyes glowing gold, voice low and commanding. "You will never touch her. She is mine. Do you understand?" Thorok struggled, but Aldrin's grip was unyielding. "Yes," Aldrin whispered, softly, almost tenderly. "And I will protect her. Always." With a roar, Aldrin released a surge of wolf energy that shattered the ground beneath them, sending the Northern Claw scattering in defeat. Lyra stepped forward, placing her hand against Aldrin's chest. "We did it," she whispered, flames flickering softly in exhaustion and relief. Aldrin cupped her face, golden eyes softening into warmth and adoration. "Yes," he murmured, voice rough with emotion. "And now, you are mine completely. Every heartbeat, every breath, every piece of you, mine." Lyra's hands went to his shoulders, pulling him close. "And I am yours," she whispered, voice trembling with love. "Forever." Their lips met in a kiss that was more than passion. It was promise, trust, and surrender. The room shimmered with golden and silver energy as their wolves intertwined, finally uniting fully in body, soul, and heart. Outside, the Northern Claw fled, never to return. Inside, the Alpha King held his She-Wolf, victorious not just in battle, but in love. Aldrin whispered against her hair. "Whatever comes, we face it together. You, me, our wolves, nothing can touch us now." Lyra rested her head on his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart. "And I wouldn't want it any other way," she whispered. The Black Fang Dominion had survived. The Alpha King had claimed his mate. And under the rising sun, two wolves stood together, unbreakable, untouchable, and bound for eternity.